What's up, YouTubers? Today we're going to talk about the Casstrom knives Lars Falt. Designed by Lars Falt, this is a bushcraft survival knife. It has a 4.5-inch blade of Schliepner steel. Apparently that's a tool steel. It weighs 6.7 ounces. Price is in the range of, I've seen about 180 to 200. I got this literally just over a year ago for $145. So you want to talk about the way things are inflating? Yeah, it's happening, and it's real. It contains handle scales of curly birch wood with some great back spacer, or not back spacers, but spacers of black. They're black spacers, not back spacers. It is pinned together with brass pins, and it has a nice little lanyard hole there. It is Scandi ground, so it's going to handle all of your bushcrafting really, really well. In terms of some comparison, let me show the sheath. Sorry. I will show the sheath. It's decent, workable, not necessarily a super great, super bad, nice and thick, well done. I did have to go ahead and treat it a little bit to make it a little bit darker and put some waterproofing on it. It does not come with the Casstrom dangler. Let me move that around. The Casstrom dangler works really, really well. It just has this nice clip on. It does not come with that. That's $25 extra, but the sheath as is, it's workable and functional. Neither necessarily a plus or a con. We'll go with it. In terms of some actual comparison knives, for myself, I think the Bark River Bravo 1 is definitely in that range. That's a $230 knife made of 3V steel, and it has a convex grind. This particular one is not the Bravo 1.25 or 1.5. They do sell those with a little bit longer, so that's definitely an option. I think the Amora Garberg, obviously for any kind of bushcrafting and that sort of thing, is always got to be a consideration in there. And that one's very similar. Also Scandi ground, also out of Sweden. Oh, Casstrom is out of Sweden, if I forgot to mention that. But so is Garberg. So yeah, it's it's definitely one thing to show real quick. Is you can see the thickness of the blade steel is much thicker than a Garberg. So yeah, this is definitely one that can be beaten on in terms of that blade. So that's definitely in there. As far as me in terms of an actual comparison for myself, it was really the Joker knives. Ember is what I have. The Joker does have some other ones with a little bit longer blades. The Ember, I'll go ahead and link that up there actually. The Ember is a little bit shorter blade, but very similar in terms of kind of good width. You have some spacers. The Ember has micarta. This one has the curly birch wood. Full tang construction, nice, thick, and beefy, and a Scandi grind. So that's what you're talking about. That Joker is only $104, and that comes with a fire striking and a fire striking sheath as well. So, and a dangler. We're talking about value here. This, you're looking for kind of something. Well, let's just jump into the pros a bit, because I think this knife is a looker. This is a beautiful knife. Absolutely love the wood handles. I did want something that I use outdoor that has wood handles, and this really is a beautiful job. I mean, if you take a look at that, honestly, it's definitely something that kind of inspires just beauty. It definitely inspires confidence as well. It's perfectly balanced. I show that at the opening, but boy, this one literally is super balanced, and it kind of helped me realize that I kind of prefer a 4.5-inch fixed blade when I'm doing camping sort of stuff, just a little bit more than a 4-inch blade. So yeah, I wish I had probably gotten the Bark River Bravo 1.25 myself. Maybe. Oh well, it is what it is. I will say this: I love the Schliepner steel. I didn't know anything about it, had never used it, but apparently I did some reading on it. It is kind of like a D2 steel, so it has pretty good edge retention. But this one actually does better with higher hardnesses for better edge retention than D2, and it's also tougher, so you can beat the snot out of it, and it's not going to chip. I did develop one little small chip. Oh, where are you? There you are. Yeah, that little chip right there. But that's just, you're going to be running into little pebbles and that sort of thing. And that is, I didn't want to sharpen that too much, because then I have to take off a lot of metal. You know what? It's still completely functional. You saw the sharpening at the open of this video, and this is just great. That's the last thing I want to talk about, the Schliepner. Oh my gosh, it is a dream to sharpen. Honestly, I like it better than 14C28N, and I really like 14C28N. You can actually get this thing to a pretty darn decent polish, and I just use sandpaper. I literally use old throwaway sandpaper from other projects. Just take it off the thing, tape it onto the board. Works great. In terms of the Joker knives one, where'd that Joker go? I kind of lost it here. In any case, there it is. Yeah, the Joker, I didn't have to sharpen, so it seemed to retain a little bit better of its sharpness, and I did use them about equally. I will say I beat more on this one, just because it has that longer blade, and when I was batoning through wood, I did a little bit more of that, so that could be one of the reasons that I did have to sharpen this. But I absolutely loved sharpening it. One of the things that some people ask is, what is my sharpening here on the Garberg look a little bit strange? And that's primarily just because that's what I use for field sharpening. Is basically, this is a Helco work. I just use a hockey puck, and this is what I bring out, and this will handle axes, just about anything I need. So that's really my use case for sharpening in the field. And then at the end of the season or whatever, I'll come back and then I'll go ahead and do it on sandpaper or whatever other system. But that gives it a little bit, prettier lines, and there's a little bit more polish on this. Not a great deal. And again, the 4.5-inch blade size is perfect. On the con side, this one did not come with the dangler, and I'm a little bit bummed about that. It's just one of those things where you start to see value being added in by other countries, Spain, Joker knives. Again, this is, that's not a deal breaker, but it's an impactor of decision making. So yeah, something to take into consideration there is the price competitiveness. The wood handles can chip just from beating on it. Not beating on the wood directly, but just running into other wood and batoning. I did chip the wood, but for the most part, this thing definitely took some drops onto the ground, into wood, and there's pebbles and stuff like that on the sand. It was fine. So it's maybe a little bit of a con over micarta. I think micarta is not going to maybe chip like that. So just being wood, but again, I kind of love the beauty of it. So don't entirely mind it. Just from a purely functional perspective, maybe micarta might be a little bit better, maybe even possibly G10. And the last thing, of course, is just this is very thick blade stock. This is not going to be a great slicer. So bring something to cut your food and other things like that. Could you? Sure you could. Could you hunt with this? Sure. But they're not optimal for that sort of, I think, just the thinness of it's not the greatest. So overall, I would say this is a beautiful functional tool. It really does inspire confidence. Absolutely loved it. I love kind of, in some senses that, you could find things that basically showed you that this was not just a machine made. This is a person, you know, not a perfect sanding line on this scale back here, for example. And I was like, oh, that was actually a human being that made that. And when you feel this in hand and the ergonomics, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's really, really good. You know, it is definitely a recommendable knife. The price point, like I said, at 145, it was a great buy a year and change ago. But now it's, you know, there may be some alternatives I would consider in there. One last thing that I did want to do, speaking of alternatives, I did this on my last video, but you know what? I don't have any takers yet. I do have this Kaiser Vanguard mini sheepdog. If you follow me on Instagram at Mitchell Bolig, and just DM me sheep, I'll enter you into a drawing for this knife for free. It's about a $70 knife, and just a little bit too small for my hands. If you're interested in that, go ahead and do so, and hope you have some good luck with that. Your chances are really good if you actually made it that far in the video. So yeah, I think the Lars Falt is definitely legendary and a worthy look, especially if you're looking for something handmade and beautiful, and you don't mind spending just a little bit more, knowing that that's what you're getting is some of that, you know, some of that handmade craftsmanship. So hope you did enjoy this. If you did, like and subscribe, and have a great day. Take care now.